Hey, what's up, Liron here. If you're unsure how to start a painting, today I'm going to share with you an interesting way to just start from the focal point. Let's get to it. I think you'll like this one. Now, just for fun, I'm going to spray a bit of water here. Why? I have no idea. Let's let it flow a bit. We'll begin like that. You can find links to the reference and the sketch if you want to see it in more details. I'm going to start just establishing this car's I don't know, it's a windshield, whatever it is. Without going into too many details, I actually see a touch of greenish blue. Now, my colors are a mess. You can find a link below to my palette setup, so you can actually see it if you want to, my exact colors in this palette, but it is a mess and I'm using them all interchangeably. All I know is that I'm enjoying working on this area. If you're the person who will get better results from being able to draw it yourself, which some people are like that, you may find out that you have a better time learning how to paint it. And that is fine too. So now we're starting to get something here, and I think it looks quite cool. Not in the sense of a temperature, but in terms of what it looks like. I'm gonna get a bit of a dark here near the bottom, just a bit. And I'm gonna get a bit of a red. By the way, I have a test paper here if I choose to use it. For now, I didn't really have to, but let's go ahead and incorporate some of that. I let it flow for now, but notice we have a lot of interesting nuances there on the bottom here. I'm gonna capture them in kind of one go. It's pretty gray. So what I'm seeing is around that tire, it goes a little mid-value, and that connects here and connects there, and then it goes down all the way here. We're already in tire territory actually here. It's very hard sometimes to verbalize everything I'm doing, so you'll forgive me if I'm doing a bit of a crappy job at that. This side right here should be a little darker. There we go. And that can extend down to the tire and the shadow underneath, like so. Now, as for the side of the car, I do see quite a lot of shadows. I'm going to try and kind of capture the overall pattern. It goes like this, and it leaves a bit of a highlight here, connects here. And that, I think, would be the side of the car. I'm using pretty much whatever I have at hand, and I'm gonna start establishing some of these windows. Now again, without the full context of the scene, this won't necessarily yet make a lot of sense, but don't worry, the more details we add, the more it's gonna make sense. I'm gonna start mixing this kind of a warm, and let's see where that takes us. This is where you gotta be a little decisive. So the side of the car, what you'll often see is it goes dark, and then it goes a little lighter near the bottom with an area that is significantly darker up above. So let's see if we can capture that little effect with a bit of a dark around here, just a bit of it, and then merge it into this. As soon as I get to this stage, I know I no longer, follow any highly detailed plan. I'm really big on figuring things out as you go along. That works really well for me. So I'm gonna lighten this a bit and start warming a little more towards the bottom, and you're gonna see this beautiful effect. Now you may wonder, what about the rest? What about all of this area? What about all the edges? I try not to concern myself with these things while I'm working on a specific shape, okay? When I'm working on the shape, I'm working just on that shape. And we'll have time later on to do some optimization, if you will. So we'll see what will come out of all of these details, okay? We'll let them unfold as we paint. So let's get all of this warmth here. very dark though. And I think I can almost just go for it, you know? I can almost do this crazy thing. Leave a couple of the highlights there. And as we reach down here, leaving some specks. Worst case, whatever details we lose, we can bring back later on with some opaque paint, but I don't think we'll have to rely on it that much, actually. So this area is a little lighter. A little more neutral too, by the way. Let's see if I can kind of get that thing going. A little more neutral. And again, as it moves inwards, I'm going to start bringing back a little more of that violet-y purple color. As we get here to this area, we begin having a bit of reflected light from the environment, so it goes a little lighter and more, a bit more neutral and blue, a bit more almost blue introduced into the mix. It's okay if it doesn't make sense to you right now. Just give it a couple of moments and it will. I'm going to use this strong red strong blue, sorry, for the license plate, then go back to some gray over the sides of the license plate. Then fill in this area with whatever I have. And as we move down, this has to be fully dark. Check it out. Hey Isla, hope you're doing well. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. And as we reach towards this area, check it out. It goes darker. And it's this dark that will help us define the transition between the car and the shadow, okay? And we're not done. We're not done yet, don't worry, but it will begin to appear in front of your eyes, the scene, that is. Here we have another car. Let me be a little careful. All the way down here with this shadow. Stronger where I need to be. And combine this shadow underneath with some darker details and darker areas, this around the center especially. This is really the time I just go all in and start placing stuff, you know, not being timid or scared. However I see it, I'm placing it in, and if it works, it works. If it makes sense, it makes sense. This is something that improves with your artistic taste and your visual perception. The more these improve, what we're doing right now will also improve. And as we get to this spot here that's a little lighter, I want to go clean. So I'll do this with just some clean color and close off the gaps that need to be darker. All simultaneously, I'm doing everything at the same time, the same moment, you see? And it's a bit crazy to paint like this, I will admit, but I don't know, it works for me. Get a bit more of the black paint here. And I think I'll take a moment in a second to bring in more. I have paint, I just need to squeeze it into my palette. So I'll have more darks. But you see it starts to, if you walk away from the screen for a second and come back, you'll see it instantly. It starts to read as a car with all of these little details, little highlights. We can just, you know, wrap up some of the darks while we're at it. So we have this dark shapes here, these dark shapes rather. These are the dark, like almost black. We're gonna fill in the mid values in a couple of seconds. Don't worry, we're not done. There's a bit more to include here. There's some completions, corrections. We'll do all of that, don't worry. Here we go. That puts us in a nice spot. To take a quick break, I'm gonna take this over to the table and show you. What you'll notice is lighter areas tend to be a little more vibrant. They're more exposed to the light. So let's see if I can match something that is similar to the color I'm seeing. It's not super ultra bright, but it is bright enough for me to kind of try and go for it. So I'm gonna place the light shape here, and it almost starts as a blue, but we'll get that in a second. So you'll notice there's a nuance here. So this light shape right here, see this? I really like the way it looks. I can actually go over this section a bit. And then I'm gonna add just a bit of blue, subtle. But as it moves to the left, it's a little more on the blue side. And then it goes a little warmer. So very gently, these two shapes are gonna touch, but I hope to have some separation between them for now, like so. You can improve it, so it feels to me like it's more of a fiery red here. So I'm gonna go back with some of my warmer red and see what happens. Something like that here as well, just a touch. And we're gonna kind of close this area off. And then I'm gonna switch over to my more fiery, warm, whatever you want to call it, red. There are quite a few highlights on these taillights. So I want to make sure I skip those if I can, just to give it that look. We're going to create a gray. I have my test paper here. And that gray will be used to start capturing the shapes inside the taillights. A bit gently. There's a lot of these rounded shapes, and then this goes through. And this entire area will be in the shadow. So let's just fill that in real quick. And underneath there's this line. I'm gonna rotate this line here, under which we get this nice pattern, once again, of light and shadow. And that should start telling our story, okay? Henny, I've seen a couple of posts pop up, but what's the story behind the super large paintings? Oh, I'm enjoying them. And do you set a rough number of focal points or try including all the details? For a large painting, you do need quite a lot of focal points, so I just include everything, if that's what you refer to. I'm working on a huge commission to a customer I really appreciate. And I am trying to just include all the details there. I do also want to have a few very clear focal points that look good, that tell the story well. But a part of it is including a lot of details that I'm seeing. I will share more about that large commission in the future. I have filmed some of the process. I am documenting the general process of creation. What I will say, kind of heart to heart, this has been a challenging year for me in many different ways, and this commission work kind of came at a perfect timing. Makes me very happy and grateful. Just something large I can sink my teeth into and make a considerable amount of money on. And it's, you know, I barely take commissions, but it's the perfect customer. They want my style, basically, so I don't have to, you know, change things too much. It's a scene, honestly, I would be happy to paint it, even if it wasn't for a commission, which is, to me, the perfect type of commission. I'm very hesitant to take commissions, and that includes friends too. Very hesitant to do it. That, you know, I may make a gift for a friend or for family, but when it comes to actually having, you know, them tell me how they want it and me having to, you know, be up to a strange standard or something. Not that I had this happen too much. I'd much rather just gift a painting to a friend rather than be, you know, in that spot. That's kind of how I am. So to have a commission work that is exactly, you know, the thing I like painting, my style, something I enjoy, to me it's a big gift. Now I'm gonna need a bit of a warm yellow to have this here reflect all the buildings around. It needs to be warmer. That's not warm enough. Come on. There we go. There we go. Should be a little more neutral, honestly. Let's see. Let's see if I can neutralize it without taking away too much. I do see a bit of darkness here as well. This is just dark here as well. It's a little dark underneath. And as we reach to the right here, I'm gonna add a bit of the blue. Just a bit of coolness. because the sky is starting to almost show through there, but it's more of a just cooler. It's not really a blue. And then if we go back to that same neutral from earlier, we're gonna have some details from the buildings that are reflecting through here. And then I'm gonna add the yellow once these dry. But we do have this thing here. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this really starts to take shape. So I'm building a frame. That's just to make it more interesting. And then once I'm done with the frame, let's see how I can fill in the windows in an interesting way. And that's going to wrap up the story for this car, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna just carve out, I told you I'm gonna be filling in the mid values. So this is what we're doing right now. And if we're a little lucky and a little careful, the overall impression will work out and it will look like a tire. Almost. And here as well, mostly here and here, leaving a bit of a highlight there. I think this could be just a little bit gray. I can definitely add something like a bit of a detail here for the connection between the doors of the car, just to give it a bit more, you know, structure. But this here should be a little kind of warm. There we go. Just to show that it's buildings reflecting on it. And now that I think about it, the key here is to keep this one light. I'm gonna go over this entire building, just like that. The glow will come later when we add the darks, so don't worry about that for now. And while we're on this area, I can just indicate there is a tree here that I can later on bring more details into if I choose to do so. Now let's see what we have here. So this is probably a little too light. But I can start with that and slowly and gradually build up the darkness. It is a little warm too, so that's something to note. I'm gonna be a little careful as we get to these points. You see, you don't have to be super accurate. It will work. Oh, moving it like this help? I'm not sure. Let's see. Now, I'm just putting in some darks here very abstractly because now I'm gonna need my strong yellow. Because look at what I'm gonna do. This is a trick I learned a while ago. You can add very opaque yellow here and make it look like a tree within the shadows, and it's going to have a nice flow to it. You could honestly do the same here, not as important though. You could add a bit of phthalo to it if you want to make it a little brighter too. But now I want to get this little traffic light thing going, so I'm just going to do this, see? And I don't have to move onto this area because we have a hard edge here. But I'm just starting to bring out some colors. Maybe there's a traffic light here, adds a bit of warmth to it. There is this red, so I mean, why not place that in here? In fact, this car is blue, so I can use that blue now, here. Like so. For the left side of the car. And as I get to some darker areas, just switch over to my darks. And hopefully this will create something that works. We'll see. This is almost like painting with no pencil lines, almost, in a way. And we have the cast shadow of the car. Now this does need to go a little darker. I know it looks dark, it's not enough. Especially near the bottom and around that tire. And then the other car is kind of a dark blue. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get this other car. Maybe it's I painted it as a taller kind of pickup truck, that's fine, or a van. Bottom part should be a little darker. See, while I'm working on these kinds of shapes, it's very hard to just take a pause and look, if I'm being honest. You have to kind of keep the flow going. Get these windows, they start kind of light and blue and then go into black. Let's just do this. Let's put a black down at the bottom and then use water to help it go up, like so. We will frame the car essentially in a way that will make it look good. Check this out. There's a cast shadow and this. So this area is still wet, so I have to be a little careful here. But we did frame the car. See? There's this thing here. I don't know what it is. Has a lot of details in it. You can start placing those in. Not even sure what they are, but you see how the car, it looks like a car. It began to look like a car. This could be a little darker. Now, of course, there's this lovely shadow on the awning that I've been wanting to get for a while now. So it goes here, and then it goes here, and then it has this little blended transition. I have a plan for a video that will be very interesting. I'll kind of compare how I used to paint stuff and how I paint them today. And today I'm being a little more direct and true to every process, whereas in the past I would follow formulas more. It's gonna show it to you in a really good kind of contrasted way. I think you'll like it. Now, just a bit of windows. While we're at it, I thought we're gonna continue, but you see I got carried away by the moment, and here we are adding details to the buildings. Now, you could add the asphalt right now. So just to show you how a lot of these things are spur of the moment. While we're on this section, I want to show you how just adding the context really makes it look good. So here is our ground floor. Here it is, painted in one go. And we're gonna add that warm section there as well. Maybe a bit of the orange here too. Looks good, quite right. And here it is. So let's get this car out of the way, shall we? So I can just place that orangey warm in, start wrapping around it with darks. And trying to make it not too enveloped in the dark. See, that's why I made a bit of a gap there. And kind of painting this. We're going to start establishing some form to these darks. So we have the tire here. We have quite a dark there in this area. We have quite a dark here. There we go. The tire, we need to make it stronger, 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 like so. And I think this should be enough to tell the story. Let's do something fun. I'm gonna paint the ground just to establish a large shape. A bit of water, and check it out. So we have the ground. It's not white. It's light, but it's not white. And I'm just going to paint it to give this some more meaning, okay? And you see how from wanting to work on the background, we ended up working on different areas. That's the reality of actually painting it in a way that you find fun. You can never know exactly how it's gonna happen. If you know how it's gonna happen, it's very likely that you are planning the thing that cannot be planned. That's the bottom line. These things cannot be planned. These things are very much a result of the moment. Now, let's mix a bit of gray once again, because we need that gray asphalt here. There we go. A little warm, that's fine. In fact, you could go over this area if you want to. You don't have to, but you could paint it because it's also gray there, underneath the shadow, so to speak. We have some greenery here on the edge, which I can kind of start indicating like so, while it's still wet. I don't think it's supposed to be there, it just grows as weeds, but it's there, so I want to show it. So I think we're gonna take this towards its completion. Are you ready? Hopefully you are, because I am. So I'm gonna just go for it. It will be hard to describe what I'm doing. It'll be quite fast, so you want to pay attention, and we'll just get to it. I'm starting with the sky. Did I even mention the sky during this video? The answer is I haven't. I don't think I have. Or maybe I have, just in a word. I didn't really have a detailed plan for it. But now I feel like I do. So, on how to incorporate it with the rest of the painting. So no happy clouds, my apologies, John, just a sky. And we will start introducing this dark warm color for the building and its details. Should be a little more neutral, so I'll add a bit of black, a bit more of it. But it shouldn't be super dark. So we'll see, I can lighten it up in a second if I choose to. I'm gonna add a bit of orange to it, believe it or not. I feel like it should be a little more orange. Then this will go around here. And we have that other building that I kind of just painted over. That's fine. That is okay. So we're gonna place the water in and let it kind of do its thing. There we go. Okay. Now, we're gonna need a bit of warmth for this building here. This is the moment Liron goes berserk. If you're reading the manga Berserk, this is my version of it. A little less violent than Guts's. But that's how I go berserk. And I do have to be a little more careful here, so let's do that. Now for the trees. So that's going to be a tree. Just the start of a tree. And here we have another tree, so that's another one right there. I will probably add a bit of blue here. I don't like the way this looks. And a bit of water. Let's see. Let's see what we can get away with here, just to make it look a little better. We're gonna push it in real time to look the way we want it to. And quite possibly while it's still wet, I could get away with this area here. I know it's gonna, move the sky into it. That's fine. Now, bottoms of the trees can be a little darker, right? So I'm gonna start pushing these, be a little darker. In fact, this entire bit here is darker. There's this nice little, you can see the branches of the tree over a relatively light background. Then this building is a little warmer. That's good. Something like that. And then we have this lovely green. Let's see how I shall do that. Here there's a strong green. I don't know if it's necessary to make it as strong, but that's fine. Gonna switch over to a bit of a darker. And I'll probably mix in the other green into it just to make it a little more neutral and natural. There we go, that's better. And then we have all of the cast shadow by the tree. It's kind of important. And this goes dark. I'm painting this pretty much the same as I painted the first car, you know, when you think about it. Kind of just going for it. Now, I don't know why this bottom here is warm. Bottom of the, I don't know what you'd call that, store level. It's warm. So I could go with that. More darks on the darks. Let it flow together for now. This here, there is a shadow. Almost placed it where I wanted to, but that's fine. Got a little wonky, but that's okay. I think that works for now. And here we have a dark car. So I'm gonna start with the darks, actually. Or you know what? Actually, not sure. Let's just start, see what happens. Bit of a dark here. A bit of a dark here. A bit of a dark here. Then onto the red right here. Let it spread out. And then it's kind of a, I don't know, like a cool mid-value. It's not as dark as the rest. This is a tire and a shadow on the ground and another tire, and everything in between is actually a little lighter because of reflected light. While we're at it, let's get the tires for this car. They're a little darker. So there we go. Tire, another tire, shadow underneath. Some mid values for this area, I suppose. Alongside more darks for the shadowy area right here. Just to give it more volume. Now we'll mix these two into a big crappy mess. Add a bit of darkness, add a bit of warmth. Use it to create these shadows right here. Whatever these things are, they probably have to do with parking or the fire department. Haven't decided yet. The top area is, however, light, a light red, so we'll do that. Cast shadows on the ground to connect these, make them make a little more sense. This building, I actually wanted to start with that and I ended up not. So let's see here. A bit of warm, cool, neutral. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, that is a pretty good color, though it's too red. I'm gonna add a bit of green to that, see what happens there. Yeah, it should be much cooler. Let's see, let's start with a cooler color. I don't know why the colors throw me off now. I used to be much better at noticing neutral colors. Now for some reason I'm having an easier time with brighter colors. So I'm just gonna go with a neutral dark. Around this fence, goes all the way down here, leaves this strip of light that I like quite a bit. And then it's all just abstract details. So let's see. It has a dark kind of ladder thing around the edge. Has these floors. Indication of this is kind of rounded. I do wonder if I could get away with, the color looks right. Let's see if I can get away with John Brilliant Sheenhan PWC opaque paint here. For these windows in particular, they look like the color would work well. There we go. While I have it. Why not? So we get some darks here. This fence thing. I would really not want to have to do another wash here. So I'll try and take it all the way. Sometimes I just feel like the impression is clean, sometimes it's not. I don't have much control over it. Either goes my way or it doesn't. That's fine. Okay, now let's mix in some of these people here. I'm gonna get them in one go once again. Kid. Guy with a backpack. Or woman. I have no idea what I'm looking at, honestly. I no longer know what it is that I'm looking at. This should be darker. These should be darker. We have this orangey thing. Let's start with just an orange and see where that takes us. On top of that, I'll do kind of wet and wet black. This casts shadow. These people, all of them cast shadows. Shadows are a little more neutral. Then this entire area at the back, it's a big mess. Let's see what I can make of it. So there's a bunch of trees there. I'm sweating just from thinking, by the way. Leave this strip of light there. And then it goes a little bluish. So let's see, this goes a little blue. I'm okay with these parts of the painting being a little more abstract. I'm just wondering as I do it how I should abstractize them, if that's a word. I know it's not, probably. But yeah, I think that's almost a good start there. I'm sometimes looking at the screen of my camera on my computer just to get a better overall view. There's a tree here in the shadow, yellow into that black, just to give it some presence. Like so. Let's darken the ground here and make it, I said it needs to be warmer. It needs to be warmer. I think that should work. Because I do need it to be a little darker as well. So here we go. Here we go. Yes, that very much works. I'll go over this too. This needs to be darker, funny enough. Let's see if I can get away with a blue glaze over it. I think that might work. Yes, it works, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, good, good. So we have this dark spot here. Dark area here. All the way down to here to make this thing light. Lots of just kind of random dark shapes. This could be darker, just this shadow here, the beginning of it. A little darker. The people do catch the light a bit. I don't really care to show it. Yeah, this casts a shadow, obviously. And now, let me get these details on the ground. So I'm gonna get this pretty much in one go. Something like this. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. And then the other side of these vents, whatever that is. I have no idea, I'm just here painting it. Kind of like that. Over the left side, they are a little darker, so let's go with that. Okay, there we go. And then we have another one here really close. Let's place that in as well. I didn't even draw it. It's funny. Just a bit of it. And then around the bottom, I'll just bring clean water because I don't want it to take too much attention. So just for the bottom, it's going to be this. Just a little bit of a darker paint. to get some of the feel. Something like this. We do have this, I don't know what you'd call this thing here, sewer thing. And here comes a wave, a torrent of shadows. I'm gonna try and make it as graceful as possible. Let's pre-wet some of this area so that it flows. It's a little, you know, blended in. And it's a lot of shadows from that fence there that we're gonna get. Quite strong, actually. These are quite strong. There we go. Also here on the ground. Sorry if this part isn't super descriptive. I'm just doing whatever it is I'm doing. I don't want to make these prominent in any way. And I don't know, I think I'm almost done. Oh, I wanted to do one more thing to that other car. The lower part here needs to actually be darker. Yep. And this should be a little darker too, just to build up its shape. Like so. There are some cast shadows on it, so why not include those in? And I wanted to do this here. So look at what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna make this color brighter. I'm gonna do a thin glaze, and you tell me what you think, okay? It's gonna be a thin glaze. I think we're gonna like it. See this? Boom. It becomes brighter. I had a feeling this kind of a thing will work. Hopefully it will last, not get too erased once it dries. Same for this little highlight and this area here. I think if we just do a bit of these highlights there, I don't know why, but this looks like it'll make sense. This, I would like to make it a little lighter still. This. This should be lighter. I would just salvage this corner completely. Let's see if that works. Some for the people. Yes, I did want to do that. Her hair, like it's really visible there. There we go. Backpack or whatever that is. I do see some of these here as well. Went a little crazy there. I like it though. License plate. Liron. Why not? Yeah, I think that's good. Let's give it a few seconds to dry. I'm gonna scan it. We'll look at the final result. This is what we've got. This building here, it was crazy. I don't know why I did it like that. I can still darken it, but I don't want it to be just blank. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon. Until next time.